A paper written by John Nell for the Arts Council, Whose Art Is It Anyway? He's written, arts organisations are going to come under increasing pressure to become responsive, customer-focused organisations which seek to engage customers in more dialogue and collaboration. Thus far, the arts are responding weakly to those imperatives, and not enough funded organisations are customer-centric organisations by instinct and practice. Developments pose an innovation and public engagement challenge for the arts. Well, is he talking about us? Do we agree with his analysis there? But we know that this isn't just about government agendas, that it's about being a 21st century organisation. It's about being dynamic and responsive to the myriad of communities that we serve. So today, I want to start with just a few questions for us. What does community engagement mean to us? Why do we, as arts organisations involved in marketing and audience development, want to spend a day exploring community engagement? Is community engagement the same as customer focus? Is it different? And if it is, what is it that makes it different? What makes good and effective community engagement? What are the competencies of a good community education worker? Have we got them? Who in your organisation identifies the community? Is it from the top? And how do you identify the community? Are you proactive or are you reactive? Do you have targets to meet? Whose targets are they? And how would you know the engagement programme was successful? How do you evidence this? Who in your organisation is leading this process?
Community engagement, what does that mean to you? For me, it means an organisation taking a good look at what's around them and what resources that they may have. Community doesn't just mean ethnic minorities. To me, it means disability. It could also mean social inclusion. You could be wanting to engage with people from different socio-economic groups, or even access and disability. That's what I think it means. From an organisational point of view, you have to look at where your organisation is now, currently, but also where you want your organisation to be in the future. It's not just about the marketing department or the education department or indeed the outreach department. It's about the whole organisation embracing change, and that perhaps is the hardest bit. Let's take a look at what this means. You'll have to look at the shift of your organisation. As I said, the organisational change. Also, your value systems. Do you put more value on the type of art that you produce, or is it the integrity of the product, or indeed is it about how your organisation looks to the customer and how the customer or the community feels involved in your organisation? It's also about out with the old and in with the new. As I said, it's organisational change and what you could do as an organisation to facilitate this. And out with the old and in with the new also means communities. Not to say that you're going to ask the communities, but you're going to perhaps bring them along and facilitate new and different ways of thinking. There'll be some challenges. That might be resource, time, or simply the kind of communities that you experience. There's also going to be different kind of learning curves. I don't believe that we fail. I just believe that there's different kind of learning curves that we apply and incorporate into our business strategies and marketing plans at different stages in our development. But most of all, there will be successes. They might not be immediate, but I do believe that there will be successes to be gained from working with communities.
Okay, so if you want to engage with South Asian community, one of the things to do is to have a very open-minded approach and be aware that they have got lots of divisions, lots of complexities in themselves, whether it's a caste system, whether it's a religious basis, whatever it is. So you need to be fully aware of that, at least first with it. Another thing would be just knowing simple things like etiquette about how do you greet an older person, how do you greet a child, how do you, greet somebody of your same age. Is the venue that you're going to a religious venue, and does it have certain rules and regulations that you need to be aware of? So those are the types of things I would say, get aware of them, or find somebody who knows about them that can share that expertise with you. Right, then the other one would be, the South Asian community is a community like no other. They want to be valued, they want to be listened to, they want to be understood and extremely cared about. They do like to have their tea and coffee and food offered to them whenever you do engage with them. So just be aware that either you're going to get invited for a cup of tea, or you need to invite them back for a cup of tea, or share something in common with them in that sense, and that would keep the conversation a bit more open and going. And then the other thing you have to remember is when you're engaging with one member of that community, you actually have to engage with the family. They're very close-knitted, they're very, passionate about retaining extended family culture, and they continuously fight with it. One of the feedbacks I've had from many of the Asian community members is that we don't want to happen to our community what we've seen happen to the Western communities. No church, no getting together every Sunday, no family gatherings, mum and dad stuck in a nursing home. That is what I get from them, is that's how their perception of the Western community is, and they guard against that. So if they see that you're going in and you're going to change what they treasure, the door will come down, or this glass curtain will come into place, so you'll see them but you won't connect with them. And I think the other thing is about sustaining long-term relationships. If you've started something, then find ways of keeping that in place. And don't make promises. Don't open your mouth up and say, okay, we will offer you this, or promise anything that isn't going to come through. And know that once you've uttered a word, you better be your word. And therefore be very clear that if you're going there to investigate, to find out and share and understand, say that that's what it's about. Okay, if it's to say that you actually want to run a project with them and whatever, then be very clear. If it's to say that you're, wanting, to see what we could do with you, it's just having real clarity about it and integrity in everything that you do, in your approach, in your, whether it's your programming, whether it's your, culture of your organisation. And when they talk about your organisation, I know, like, from box office staff to the top person needs to understand that many members of the South Asian community still may not have English as their first language, and therefore being able to be patient and take time and listen.
So what we think about at the Sage Gate Sub when we're thinking about community engagement and how we can work with people is thinking about why we're doing what we're doing, who's involved in the process and who owns what in terms of the process. So it doesn't mean that everybody has to be responsible for everything, all want the same outcomes, but we need to be clear what they are and who wants what from the process, so that we make it relevant, and that our participants, the people involved in those programs, that we deliver those programs with and for those people, they are stakeholders in the process. So finding ways that they can create ownership, so whether that's steering groups or forums, but active ones and ones that are challenging new questions and trying to move things on. We also think it's important that we're articulating and sharing the outcomes of those processes so people can see the change, learn from the changes that have happened, and look at ways to move forward. And that also galvanises energy. So looking at all the transferable outcomes, whether they be educational, social, economic. We think that there needs to be a respectful and high quality process, and that the processes need to be transparent. So meeting people where they are on their journey, not trying to make them be what you want them to be. Building a trust so that you can then go and explore together, you can go and learn together. Realistic possibilities, so you're not promising the earth, and you're being clear at what's possible now and where you might aim for in the future. Good questions, thinking of the good questions. What do I need to find out? How am I going to find it out? And sharing and learning from each other. We all have things to share and learn from each other. And also keeping the broader social picture in mind. So not just thinking about the activity of that event or that offer, but also thinking about the broader picture. So for instance, when do the concession bus passes come online, and when can we set up our session? And most importantly, I would say authenticity, joy, bravery, and looking for the next steps and connections.